Now, another area that the GED math test has to cover with exponents is this thing called exponent rules. There's 6 of them. So this is one of those things in the basic math section of the test, which is 25% of the test. This could be one of those questions where we can't use a calculator. So what they're saying here, what is 3 to the 3rd power or 3 cubed times 3 to the 2nd power? Well, this is going to lead us to that rule. Now, we're going to get used to that dot for the times symbol, for the multiply symbol, because their X doesn't really show up a whole lot as the times thing anymore, because it looks like the letter X, which is in algebra, and they should have never taught that in the beginning because it just gets confusing. So we break down the 3 to the 3rd power, and it's 3 times, look at that 3. That 3's had too much turkey. So that's what that is with the repeater. I'm going to fix that. Boop. And then times, we're breaking down this one, 3 to the 3, or times 3. So these 3 are this. These 2 are this. Now, before we type this into our calculator and find there's one thing to note. This turns into 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 to the 5th power. And this is our first exponent rule. If the base is the same and the big numbers multiply, the top numbers add. And that will be, there'll be questions like that where it's going to look like, well, I'll show you what it looks like and say 3 times 3 is 9. That's 27. And now suddenly we're about above what I can do in my brain. Passed that a long time ago. Should have my better calculator. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So that should be our right answer. That should be our right answer right there. So I'm going to hit that and it'll be correct and we'll get points and the screen's going to jump around. There it is. So let's borrow how they talked about it. This is the key. This is the important thing to take right here. So you're in the GED testing room on question 13. Question 12 was brutal. Let's just say it was brutal. We got to put that thing behind us and we click on the next question. And the next question says this. And here are your 4 choices. A says x to the 44th. And that's a multiply. So it's very tempting to think, okay, we multiply the 4 and the 11 and you get 44. That's answer selection A. Answer selection B is x to the 15th. And that one is kind of like, well, I see what you did. We added the 4 and the 11 together and you got 15. And they'll probably do something like this where they just flip it over and flip it around. And these two don't make very much sense because the x is the big number, not the little one. So that's how these 4 are choices. And the way we're going to survive and win and thrive and be victorious in the math test is to knock out 2 possible answers. And we can look at this and go, x should really stay big. That kind of makes sense. So these 2 are garbage. And if there's 46 questions on the test, you get to a coin flip where it could either be this or this, you will get half of them right. You will get 23. That's not lucky. That's just pure odds. Flip a coin enough times, heads and tails will even out. And what do we need to pass? We need 26 right. So we need to do just 3 better than a coin flip. So enough of that. But that's where the win is. We don't have to know everything. We don't have to worry about that garbage. Here's rule number 1, and we just did it right down here. If the bases are the same, you add, if the big numbers get multiplied, the little numbers get added. And I heard a teacher say, this is that old school multiplication sign. She said, just roll it over just a little bit and adjust it to a plus. So we multiply down here and we add here, and this one is correct. So that's rule 1. And there's really just a few things we really have to memorize for the GED math, and this is one of them. So that's number 1 of the 6 rules. If the big numbers are multiplying, the little numbers are adding. I'm going to add rule 2 real quick. If this was 7 to the 4ths, and this was 7 to the 2nd, remember, fraction is nothing but a division symbol, and a division symbol is nothing but a fraction. They should have told us this in school, made a big deal about it. The division symbol is a picture of a fraction. It's a line with something on top and something on the bottom, just like this. And if we type into a calculator, we type it top down. So anyway, this would turn into 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, which is a jackpot in slot machine. This one is 7 times 7. So we just spread those numbers out. Remember, they're stacked on top of each other. We just spread them out. Well, this is going to feel like old school math class. These two can cancel out. They just can. So 7 times 7 equals 14. That's our final answer. But what do we notice? This 7 times 7 is 7 to the 2nd. If we take these two numbers and subtract them, 4 minus 2, we can jump right to the answer. So if the big numbers are dividing, all we do is knock off those dots and subtract. If the big numbers are multiplying, tip that thing over just a little bit and add those little numbers. So big numbers are here, little numbers are here. That's lowercase l. If the big numbers are multiplying, tip it over and add. If the big numbers are dividing, get rid of the dots and subtract. So here we go. We're going to run through a bunch real quick. Z to the 11th minus, oops, plus, nope, what am I doing? Times Z to the 4th. And then Z's just weird. Got to mix it up though. Can't do X all the time. That's divided. So if we were on, like I said, question 13 and question 12 just kicked our butt, and we see this or this. Look at that. This one especially. It has everything that everybody hates. Fractions, letters next to numbers, and tiny little numbers that are mysterious and creepy. But we can own these things just by memorizing. Just be cool with them, right? And just, here we go. We're going to bat, bat, bat. Those are multiplying, so those are adding. The answer is Z to the 15th. And that's all you have to do. This one is, they're dividing. They're dividing. So all we do is take away those dots. 7 minus, did I say 7? 11 minus 4 is 7. These questions barely have any math in them. So for all those other algebra questions where we got a million things to do, we love questions like this. We love questions like there's really no math. It's just sort of knowing these rules. And those are the 2 rules that we're going to do for now, because I bet you this little thing is going to give us some better choices coming up. So we're hitting stop on this one. I'm not hitting stop. I'm drawing all over.